Hello, dear friends. I'm glad to welcome everyone watching Sotnik-TV this moment. It's November 16th, 2019. The Moscow time is 7:01 p.m. The results of another survey were published the last week, based on the research by Levada Center and Moscow Carnegie Center. The amount of Russians demanding strong changes inside the country has increased during the last 2 years from 42 to 59%. The real income decreases though, and we see people's funds insufficient for anything, as the victory speeches from the TV set won't feed anyone. Do you remember such equation? May it be poor yet stable. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Not because the things has turned that poor, but because there's no sign of a skylight or any improvement that has to come someday. It's clear that a human only gets his life once and by chance. The life goes by and things don't get any better. And that may last for generations. It seems to only get worse with that regime. Look at how that fights everyone else. The further it goes, the more tense that fight will get. The deeper that gap will become between the grandpa and the ones sane. Here's the example. This week Vladimir Putin has attended BRICS summit in Brazil. New Brazilian president doesn't feel much love to Putin, being more US-oriented and loving Trump. Nevertheless, he doesn't mind publicity. He likes that, so he gave everyone a warm welcome. I must admit, though, that Russian delegation has been searched with dogs looking for drugs. But that is what reputation means. A man can't do anything about that. Some haters would say that those idiots should have performed the search of them departing, not arriving. They came for drugs, so there was nothing on them. While Putin came for his own publicity as well. He needed to show those apes that he was really demanded and popular. He needed to seem interesting and powerful. Everyone would meet him and welcome him and listen to him. But even there, at a small-time, unimportant summit, the grandpa got confused. Let me quote the official outlet Moskovsky Komsomolets. According to Putin, the global role of the BRICS 5 will grow unavoidably. Here's the direct quote. Look at what's going on in the economy, look at those numbers. Putin overreacted in front of the journalists. This year, BRICS has already outrun the G7 countries in GDP volume and in purchasing parity by 12%. BRICS will have $50 billion more comparing to the G7 countries the next year. Let me take a break and know that after those words, Mr. Putin could easily claim that he was going to go to outer space in a minute right from there. Back to the quote. That words made the faces of the Russian authorities at the conference slightly change in shape. It's not me, but Moskovsky Komsomolets. A grimace of confusion appeared on those faces. China is strong and powerful, of course, but even its help doesn't allow to outrun the Union of the developed economies that much. After some quiet discussion, Dmitry Peskov was sent to deliver Putin a correction note. The next year's BRICS GDP turned out to be $50 billion in total, but not to exceed to that amount. That still makes more than the G7 total the president specified, yet not mentioning that buying parity is considered quite spurious and economy's comparison would rather be made by nominal GDP. End of quote. Do you realize what conclusion can be made of that? They provide Putin with some pink numbers all over his life, colored some desperate optimism, stretched, and obviously not corresponding to the severe reality. Despite that, Putin multiplies those numbers by the number of his incompetence, of his anticipation, adding his own wishes to that, not corresponding to the reality. As a result, we get that equation with all the data distorted, solved by some insane mathematician. So, in fact, not only does Putin lie to himself and to the rest of us, he totally believes those numbers, that data and the conclusions he has made. Such brave conclusions, he is such a scientist. He knows algebra and languages, you name it. He is a genius. While his circle doesn't wish to disappoint the grandpa, their boss. They are aware of his bad temper. So they simply play with him and give him the data so far from the reality that makes Kremlin exist in some parallel plane. And I can't say they feel bad. They feel nice and pretty comfortable. The further all that goes, the wider the gap between the reality and their imagination gets, the harder the inner tension gets from below, as well as the confusion and the frustration above, the stronger the final electrical charge will get, as once all that accumulates, sooner or later some charge will occur. Once again, I emphasize that that doesn't prevent Kremlin from pulling the world society tail, blackmailing all the time. Look at Sergei Naryshkin. Another threat has come out of his mouth just the other day. Amid the current warring situation, we simply have to intensify the efforts at our country's defense strengthening. As they say, if you seek peace, prepare for war. End of quote. During the 5 days from the 8th to the 13th of November, the diplomats of the US and Russia have been discussing Treaty of Strategic Offensive Reductions, also known as START 3 in Geneva. That treaty term expires in 2021. And the result of that 5-day consultation was expressed just with one phrase by Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry and by the US State Department. The parties keep discussing the practical issues of treaty implementation. That was it. What is the conclusion? The INF Treaty is history now. Now the START 3 is about to become that as well. And whether we wish that or not, starting 2021, the world will get into some new nuclear reality. For now, Kremlin has been selling some simple and regular weapons, lending that to all those apes striving to run around with guns. While in the new circumstances, that may start trading with something more hot and nuclear. I'm not exaggerating, but that is the reality Kremlin is preparing us for. As you understand, that can't dominate at the market of modern peaceful technologies, the information technologies market, the medical achievements market, or the communications market. The space is about to finally close in front of them. They've stolen everything from Roscosmos Corporation. Take a look at Dmitry Rogozin's snout. What space are you talking about with him in that country? His snout seems more anti-space. Give him a little more time and he will fill the universe. So they will stop striving skyward and start digging deep, looking for another doorway to hell. And these are some news from the central bank. As you may recall, around a year ago I have screwed that quite hard, telling about the plans on producing coins of 50 and 100 rubles. That was when some major outlaw from Taganskaya gang, Alexander Torshin, who was also the central bank chairman deputy that time, got mad at me. Now he hates me in Austria, and it's not about him, but about those guys from the central bank that have been looking for some solution for such a long time. How can such coin be issued so that Sotnik turns out wrong? As issuing that, they admit me being right. So they have found some brilliant solution to that. From now on, all the coins, those of 50 rubles and the future ones of 100 rubles, will be issued at the request of the workers. That reminds me of the USSR doing everything at such requests. You see, the workers need to get change with such money. The thing is that, despite the faulty victorious speeches, Russia returns to cash zone. The population moves to cash, ignoring the plastic cards from the banks. And the 50-ruble bills are not issued any longer. Those run shabby too fast after being issued, while coins are really convenient in circulation. Those are coins and won't get shabby. So 50 rubles will turn coin from now on, and that will turn change inside your wallets. Not a bill, but some change. The coin of a high value is still a change. Do you remember how Kopek disappeared? Then there were 5 and 10 kopecks they stopped minting. Now it's hard to find 50 kopecks, and the minting of 1 ruble coins has been decreased 4 times. Soon 1 and 2 ruble coins will vanish from the circulation. That will happen quite soon, as that is how inflation works. They will mint coins of increasing value. Do you remember 50 and 100 ruble coins in 90th? Well, we're moving back to the 90th on a new coil. We're almost there. Take a look at the news. Your hair will stand on end. All that pseudo-stability policy needs to end up at some point on a new coil, on a new level, and all that country, along with its spiritual inhabitants, will make a step to the eternity from that level. Actually, the central bank should issue 10,000 ruble bill. It's about time. Guess we'll need to watch the upcoming demands of the workers there. Those demands will allow them to print the 10,000 ruble bills, followed by the one of 100,000. Don't you doubt, as that's what the inflation is. And that turning into hyperinflation will simply stunt you. They will return the death penalty on the demands of those workers. They will declare gays the biggest danger for the country. They will name all the unwanted individuals foreign agents or spies. What does the term foreign agent mean? And every man thinks of an agent as of a spy. And when he hears of a foreign agent, that certainly means spy for him. A lot will be made on the request of the workers. Where there's a will, there's a way, and Kremlin has that will. They are in the middle of keeping the power. So get ready for some new terrifying events. The news and the white noise distracting you from the main. And the main thing is that they are keeping the power. They're holding that. That can't fall out of their hands. They will kill anyone and bury their own mother alive for that. They are ready to start World War III for that. They need the power for power, just so that they have it. Once they have the power, they live. That is similar to what the blood is for Dracula. He may bite the entire planet, turning everyone into undead. His aim is to make his existence last by any price. Sure, the darkness we witness is not the darkness before dawn, but before the final empire collapse. Thank you for watching Sotnik-TV and supporting us, as they're pushing really hard. Don't you send us the last one, as we won't accept that. Take care of yourselves, of your close ones, of your hearts and souls. Stay with us. We'll meet live on Wednesday. I will give you the time later. Goodbye.